Welcome back to another class on Halacha for women. We are on the sefer called Otzar Danim by Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef Shlita. This halacha is a very important halacha where a lot of people, unfortunately, are not aware of this. Now, I don't really see it much by women because you don't daven with women, you daven with men. But whatever I'm going to say to a guy, it also applies to a woman. And we'll see the halacha afterwards inside. There is a halacha in the Shulchan Aruch that states that a person is not allowed to daven as long as he needs to take care of his bowels. If you need to use the restroom, you are not allowed to pray Shemona Esrei. Many times you see when a person davens Shemona Esrei, before the Shaliach Tzibur begins the repetition of the Shemona Esrei, they finish their Shemona Esrei, they say Oseh Shalom B'Muramav, they take off their tefillin and they run to the bathroom. Now, Rabotai, that's a very big problem. Davening Shemona Esrei when you have to use the restroom is a very, very big problem. At times we're going to tell you you did not fulfill your obligation. At times we're going to tell you that even if you had to go to the bathroom, you did fulfill your obligation. But a lot of times, especially in the morning, Mincha Aravit, it's a little bit easier because you could go right to the restroom right before you start Shemona Esrei, because you have no tefillin on you. Shacharit, a lot of times that's where the problem is for men. Why? Because if they have their tefillin on, and now let's say they're getting to the bracha of Baruch Atah Hashem Ga'al Yisrael, where they should technically take off their tefillin and go use the bathroom, they don't do that. What do? They say the bracha, they start Shemona Esrei, and then after Shemona Esrei, they'll take off the tefillin not to put it back on again, and they're going to go and use the bathroom. Now that is a very, very big problem. That is not allowed to be done. You cannot daven Shemona Esrei needing to use the bathroom. Now this is what we see by men. Again, by women, I can't tell you what I see by women, but the same halacha is going to apply to women. We'll see right now that there is a difference between Gidolim and Katanim. Meaning if a woman has to go and make number 2 versus number 1. When does she have to repeat her Shemona Esrei if she had to use the bathroom and still she davens Shemona Esrei? Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef Shita begins, if a woman needed to take care of her bowels, she needed to go to the restroom. Lechatchila, the best possible way. Lo titpalel tefila Shemona Esrei ada shetitfaneh. Do not daven Shemona Esrei until you take care of your bowels. Af sheyochala laamid atzma shiur sha'a vereva. Even if you are able to hold yourself for 72 minutes, because we'll see that there is a very big leniency that if you did begin, it's really dependent how long were you able to hold yourself. And I'll explain as we go along. So, the first point in Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlita, we see that a woman, if she needs to use the restroom, she shouldn't pray Shemona Esrei. Even if she's able to hold herself from going to the bathroom for 72 minutes, she shouldn't pray Shemona Esrei. Rather, let her go to the restroom and take care of her bowels. Continues Rav Yitzchak Yosef, and he says, what happens if she did pray? What happens if a woman, in any event she went, she said, listen, what's the difference? If I go now, I go later, what's the difference, right? But one of the things I should have read in the Ramah, let me see if I could find it for you. 1 second. The Ramah brings down the importance of praying with a clean body, learning Torah with a clean body. 1 second. Tzadik bet. Okay, here we go. So let me read the. Okay, you know something? Okay, let me read the halacha for you anyway. It says like this in Simon Tzadik bet in the Shulchan Aruch in halacha Aleph. It says Hayat tzarich lenikavav. If a person needed to take care of his bowels, al yitpalel, he shouldn't daven Shemona Esrei, or she shouldn't daven Shemona Esrei. Ve'im yitpalel tefilato to'eva. And if a person did pray Shemona Esrei, his prayers is an abomination in the eyes of Hashem, or her prayers. That means all the 19 berachot that you said in the 18 prayer blessing comes out to be blessings in vain. We'll see specifically when that is. V'tzarich lachzor ulitpalal. You have to go back and you have to daven Shemona Esrei again. You see how severe this is, guys? That's why before you start davening Shemona Esrei, you have to make sure you clean your bowels. V'hani mili, when are we going to tell you that your prayer is an abomination and you got to go back and daven Shemona Esrei? V'hani mili sheni yachol amit atzmo shur hiluch parsa. You're not able to hold yourself back the amount that is going to take you to walk a parsa, which is about 72 minutes. Aval im yachol amit atzmo shur parsa yatsa b'di'avad. But if you were able to hold yourself 72 minutes, if it already happened, we're going to give it to you. But you shouldn't do it. Aval lechat chila. Listen to the language. Shulchan Aruch. Aval lechat chila. Lo yitpalel ad sheyivdok atzmo techila yafe. He shouldn't daven until he's going to check himself very well. Same thing applies to women. One of the mistakes that parents make on themselves and also much more so on their children is that when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do, you brush your teeth. You go, you make number one, you brush your teeth, whatever, you get the kids ready and everybody's out of the house. You don't give your children enough time to be able to sit on the bathroom, meaning on the toilet seat. What do I mean? The Mishnah Berurah in the beginning of the chapter, not in Tzadik Bet, all the way in the beginning, I think it's like in the beginning of the Simanim, he brings down over there that when a person goes ahead and he gets up in the morning, you shouldn't just rush out to shul. You should first sit down on the toilet seat, wait there a few minutes, see if you have to make number two. Because remember, when the night before you go to sleep, all the food that you ate is getting digested. When you're waking up in the morning and you're just thinking, okay, you're going to urinate and now you're going to run out and you're going to take care of your business and you'll make number two later on. Rabotai, you have poison in your body that is stuck. So you're carrying it with you all day long, which is a problem. Rambam says majority of the people that become sick is because they don't take care of their bowels in time. They don't go to the bathroom on time. Oh, let me finish this, let me finish that. Let me finish this, let me finish my work, let me finish watching TV, let me finish this, let me finish learning Torah, and then I'm going to go. No, Rabotai, a person, if he has to go, he has to go. Or she has to go, she has to go. So one of the things that one should educate in the family, that whether it's a woman, a husband, children, doesn't matter. Sit on the toilet seat for a few minutes. Be'emet Rabotai, sit. You will be surprised. I one time told this to my kids. I can't blame it on my older kids, right? So I know they have to daven and they have to learn with a clean body and so on and so forth. So no, we don't have to go. I didn't say you have to go. Nobody has to do anything. But I asked them, can you just sit? 2 minutes, just sit, see if it's going to come out. Rabotai, you will be surprised. Almost 99, I don't know, okay, let's say 95% of the time, when you sit down, somehow you have to go. Can you imagine walking with that all day long until 3, 4 p.m. in the day, and then you feel that you have to go? It's very, very important when you wake up in the morning, not only to make urine, because that you feel very much, but meaning number one, you should also sit and see if you have to make number two. You don't have to make. But you will be very surprised how many times you do have to make. And clean out your body, but that is poison, that is filth in your body. Why do you need it to be there with you all day? In any event, that's what the Halacha says. However, initially, lo yitpalal ad sheyivdok atzmo techil yafeh. You shouldn't daven Shemona Esrei until you check yourself very well. Comes the Ramah, the Ramah says, v'chol hanitzrach lenekevav. Anybody who needs to take care of his bowels, asur afilu b'divrei Torah. It is forbidden even when it comes to saying words of Torah. Why? Why? He says, Kol zman shiguvu mishukas min hanikavim. As long as his body is disgusted from bowels, he shouldn't do it. Let me still read in Od Zayin and Mishnah Berurah. Let me see something. Okay. Alright, he says something else. I was looking for something else over here. Let me see, Vav. Yes, right here. He says in Sivkat and Vav, Afilu b'divrei Torah, v'kol sheken b'kriyat Shema ushar berachot. How much more so when it comes to Kriyat Shema and any other beracha, that if you have to take care of your bowels, you go take care of your bowels. You can't say Divrei Torah, you can't say Shema, you can't even say Shakol Mi B'dvoro. Ubidavad, however, he says if it happened, okay. And also it's implied from the Rambam that if it, Rabotai, you went ahead and you said the bracha, you went ahead and you said Shema, you don't have to go back, fine. But Rabotai, this is not the class. I want to just show you this, the Ramah, that even when it comes to words of Torah, which holds a very, very high level, which is Talmud Torah connected Kulam, he tells you v'chol hanizach l'nekavav asur. Why? Because because your body is disgusting. It has disgusting things from your bowels. Why do you need it? So it's very important to clean out your system. In any event, now let's get back to over here. So now let's see, when are we going to say that if a woman went ahead and she davened Shemona Esrei, that the feel of the prayer is considered to be a abomination, and she has to go back, and all the blessings were a blessing in vain, versus maybe even if she had to go, we're going to tell no, she's fine. So let's see this over like this. If a woman went ahead and she prayed Shemona Esrei, again, l'chadchila, you're not allowed to pray, but let's say you prayed. You went ahead and you prayed Shemona Esrei, and you needed to make number 2. If you are able to measure within yourself that you were able to hold this number 2 72 minutes, if it already happened, we're going to post facto, we're going to tell you, you don't have to go back. You don't have to repeat the Shemona Esrei. Don't go back and repeat the Shemona Esrei. Now, one of the things you're going to ask me now, Rabbi, what do you mean? Nobody could hold themselves 72 minutes. Well, it's not necessarily true. Why? I don't know if it ever happened to you that you're driving with your family or with your husband, or even by yourself. You're driving on the road and you hit traffic. Now you have to go to the restroom. So now you're like, where are you going to go? You can't go. You're middle. You could hold 1 hour. You could hold an hour and 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours sometimes. So you could hold it. That is how you are able to measure yourself. That you have to basically, when you went into Shemona Esrei, like for example, let's say right now, let's take me for example, right? I have to go ahead and I have to use number 2. Knowing the halacha, you're not supposed to do it. I still went and I did it. Let's say, when I'm davening Shemona Esrei now, let's say I finish 5 minutes later, 7 minutes later, whatever it is, and now I have to run to the restroom. Do I have to come back and repeat the Shemona Esrei? So it's really dependent. I have to ask myself like this. Okay, were you able to hold that number 2 for 72 minutes? If my answer is going to be no, we'll see over here, you have to go back and you have to repeat the whole Shemona Esrei again. If my answer is going to be yes, I'm able to hold the 72 minutes, then I don't have to go back. How do I know I'm able to hold the 72 minutes? Because like I explained, sometimes you get stuck in traffic or somewhere else and you don't have a bathroom until you get to one. It'll take some time. So you see, you could do it. Again, if you're that type of person that can't hold your bowels, so you can't hold your bowels, then you have to go back and repeat the Shemona Esrei. So one more time, he says like this. If she's going to be able to measure, if you're going to be able to measure for yourself that you were able to wait 72 minutes, we're going to give you the Shemona Esrei prayer. Post facto, that was not the best way to pray, but you're going to get a check mark in Hashem's book. Don't go back to pray Shemona Esrei. Aval, however, what happens? She says, I couldn't hold it. The number 2 was just too strong. On a regular basis, maybe I could have held it, but this time I began davening when it was already pulling out, so there's no way I was going to be able to hold 72 minutes. Okay, in that situation, we're going to tell her to go back and daven Shemona Esrei. Now, this is by Gedolim. There's a difference between Gedolim, number 2, and number 1. So let's just summarize number 2, and then we'll go to number 1. By number 2, we said like this. So let's go step by step. Step number 1, if you need to take care of your bowels, make sure you take care of your bowels. Do not daven Shemona Esrei until you took care of your bowels. Now, you went ahead and you daven Shemona Esrei knowing you have to go and use the bathroom. Step number 2 is going to say like this. Were you able to hold that number 2 inside for 72 minutes? Measure for yourself. If the answer is yes, you don't have to repeat the Shemona Esrei. If the answer is no, that you were not able to hold yourself for 72 minutes, we're going to tell you have to go back and repeat the whole Shemona Esrei again. And that is exactly where the Shulchan Aruch says, V'im itpalal tefilato te'eva v'tzarich lachzor ulpalal. That's what the Shulchan Aruch says. Since you daven Shemona Esrei, when you needed to make Gedol, when you needed to make number 2, and you're not able to hold yourself for 72 minutes, you should know your prayer was an abomination in the eyes of Hashem, meaning it's disgusting. The blessings that you said were all blessings in vain. Now you have to go back and you have to redo the Shemona Esrei. That's why it's very important to always check oneself before you start davening. That is in regards to number 2. What about number 1? What happens if she needed to go make number 1? V'itpalala tefilata tefila. And she went ahead and she prayed. Her prayer is a prayer. Here we go, listen to this. Afilu im lo hayta yochol lahamid atzma shi'ur parsha ve'en tzrich lachzor l'palal. Even though you were not able to hold the urine for 72 minutes, you said there was no way I was going to be able to hold it. Still, we're going to tell you, you fulfilled your obligation in the Shemona Esrei. You don't have to go back. Your blessings are not in vain. And the Shemona Esrei is not disgusting in the eyes of Hashem. However, he says, "V'im tertzeh," but if she wants, "Rasha'id lachzor ulpalal b'tanai shel nedava." But if you want, you could go ahead and, if you want to go back and daven, since you were not able to hold yourself for 72 minutes when it comes to number 1, if she wants, she can go back and daven the Shemona Esrei with a condition of a voluntary prayer. Aval, however, he says, lechatchila, but the best way, in the initial way, afilu yochola lamid atzma shiur parsa. Even if you are able to hold yourself for 72 minutes, kivan shemargisha shehi nitzrecha lenikeveha lo titpalal. Even if a woman knows that she's able to hold herself for 72 minutes, not a problem. She can hold for 2 hours, 3 hours, not a problem. Since he says she has a sensation that she needs to take care of her for number 1, the urine, he says not to daven. Comes out of here like this, as a summary. For number 1 and number 2, once you feel it, you shouldn't daven Shemona Esrei. For number 2, if you did daven Shemona Esrei and you were not able to hold yourself for 72 minutes, you gotta repeat it. If you were able to hold yourself for 72 minutes, you don't have to repeat it. For number 1, even if you were not able to hold yourself 72 minutes, we'll tell you don't have to go back and repeat it. You want to go back and you want to repeat it, you want to make a condition as a voluntary prayer, that is up to you. How do you do it? You say like this, before you begin the Shemona Esrei, you can say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if my prayer that I davened initially was not a good prayer, let the one that I'm davening now, let this be the good prayer. But if the prayer that I davened before was a good prayer, then let this prayer now be a voluntary prayer. You're making a condition because you do not know which prayer is going to be accepted in the eyes of Hashem. If the first one you davened was already accepted in the eyes of Hashem, then the one that you're davening now becomes voluntary. If the one that you davened initially was not good in the eyes of Hashem, so the one that you're davening now becomes good in the eyes of Hashem. Again, halachically speaking, when it comes to number 1, whether you could wait 72 minutes or whether you cannot wait 72 minutes, you never have to go back. Unless you want to, that's already your free choice. But you have to do it with a condition like I explained. But for Gedolim, for number 2, if you cannot hold yourself 72 minutes, you have to go back. But if you could hold yourself 72 minutes, you don't have to go back. But we saw, whether it's number 1 or whether it's number 2, a woman lechatchila should not daven until she takes care of her bowels. Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen ve'amen.